You could have shown up to game day with a basic 7-layer dip, but you didn't. You called an audible and swapped the sour cream layer for Philadelphia cream cheese. Now, words like creamy and delicious are flying around the room, and your dip
so good
is getting more looks than a top fantasy wideout. You don't follow a recipe, you Philly it whenever you Philly like it. Philadelphia cream cheese.
CC.
Here we go, Paul!
9 to noon. Hardcore football.
Hey, Courtney. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty well. The 2025 season is it's upon us, and then just think about the turns that your career has taken. It must seem like just yesterday that you were wondering if the Glenbrook South Titans were going to remain undefeated against this pesky Maine South Hawks squad, and here we are getting ready for Eagles in Dallas tonight and Vikings and Bears on Monday Night Football. That Glenbrook thing seems like just yesterday, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what would that have been, 2006, I think, at the time when they were undefeated against Maine South. Feels like yesterday. I wish I was still there. No, I mean, it's incredible. Like, all these Monday night openers I've had over my career, whether it was the first year was Vikings Saints, remember Sam Bradford, 2017, the great game that he had, and then all of a sudden he's out for the rest of the year right after that. And then I think we had another one somewhere in there along the way. In 5 seasons I covered Minnesota, and now one against the Vikings again, now covering the Bears. So it's exciting. I love this time of year. Can't ask for anything more.
Courtney Cronin at Courtney R. Cronin via X covers the Bears for ESPN and ESPN.com, and she's the absolute bomb. Are you sensing the locals are optimistic about this Bears season, or how optimistic are they?
I think there's a good bit of optimism here, and a lot of it stems from what Ben Johnson did in Detroit. It took a little bit of time for that offense to become the best in the NFL, but I think people see the vision because it feels different. Like the culture around the team, the way that anybody who gets in front of a microphone that represents that organization, it sounds different. It sounds like competency, which it wasn't the last couple of years. Certainly last year when things were falling apart, they were looking for anybody to steer the ship, and they didn't have that. Ben, when he speaks, feels like, honestly, it's like what it felt like a difference when I was watching Kevin O'Connell taking over for Mike Zimmer. And that's not a bad thing. It wasn't saying that Zim lost control of it, but the messaging at the end of the time in Minnesota felt very different from the fresh start that they got when KOC took over in 2022. That's how it feels here, where you've got somebody who is young, energetic, has had success in a previous place, tangible success that they are directly responsible for. And I think Bears fans buy into that, knowing that there is a chance that it could all work out. Obviously, it's a big if. The quarterback has to, do his part in this. But the optimism here is not centered around like any one specific player, I'd say. I know people are going to be like, how is it not on Caleb Williams? I think it's because it's their most important offseason acquisition was the head coach before they could get anything else right.
Courtney wrote about the left tackle spot at ESPN.com. Are they reluctantly using Braxton Jones at that spot? And what are some of the problems they've had with him when he plays left tackle?
Reluctantly is probably the right way to phrase it. There's not been any glowing endorsements. When Ben Johnson says, well, he knows, has it been perfect? No, but he knows what he's doing out there. And the more reps he's gotten better. And the fact that they leave the door open to make a change in season, like they came out and said that. Usually, that's a no-brainer that if a player is not good, you're going to make a change. But to come out and say that, to preface it with, we're going to name a starter for week 1, and if we don't like it, we're going to make a switch in season. We're not opposed to doing that. I think it shows you how they feel about the options that they have at that spot. And it took 6 weeks, and throwing a new player into a 3-person mix about 4 weeks into camp, it showed you that they didn't have the right mix there. And maybe that's something they should have addressed more in hindsight if you're looking at it in the draft and free agency, maybe via a trade at some point. But I think what I've seen from Braxton Jones is what they've seen in the fact that he's hit his ceiling, PA. Like, he's a fifth-round pick from an FCS school. There's nothing wrong with being an average left tackle. But when the offensive line issues were so blatant and the quarterback sacked 68 times last year, you can't have average play when you're trying to make sure that this guy can be your franchise QB. He cannot afford to get hit that many times, and the blindside blocker is the most important one in respect to that. So I think they're going to roll with Braxton Jones for as long as he'll get them through a portion of the season. He has the most experience, 40 starts, and he's a better option than Karan Amagaji, Ozzie Trapillo, or Theo Benedette, who was an undrafted free agent who was on the practice squad last year. I don't view this as a high-end long-term option, but they'll go as far as they can with him.
All right, so with the quarterback Caleb Williams, his yards per attempt last season, a paltry 6.3, and his long completion was just 47 yards. So how much can the new coach impact and improve those numbers with Caleb?
The deep ball accuracy is something they have been working on. Like that was a very intentional thing that they started doing in the spring. We saw it during OTAs, and the way that Ben viewed it is that with Ryan Tannehill, when he was the assistant quarterbacks coach in Miami earlier in his career in the mid 2010s, that took a lot of time, took a lot of reps for Ryan Tannehill to build that chemistry with his receivers downfield on some of those deep passes, timing, rhythm, all of that factors in, but they started it so early with Caleb because they had to change his footwork around, because they had him going under center so much more than he's ever been used to at any point of his career, in hopes of creating more explosive plays. There's a lot of things that go into why he's doing that, but that's one of them, off of play action. And, it's something that I think they really want to unleash this year, because the times that he did go deep felt like those were the plays where things broke down. He didn't have to necessarily process, more of you like using his athleticism to get outside the pocket, to throw on the run, and to make something special happen. They want to see him with those deep ball shots do that within structure. So within the confines of the offense, of the confines of what the play is calling for, going through your progressions, not bailing out of the pocket too early because you sense phantom pressure or because you're trying to make the hero play, and not in a selfish way, but that's what he's been conditioned to do his entire career. He's had the luxury of being more athletic than everybody else on the field in college and using that to his advantage. Now that you're in a place that is going to rely on you processing this information pre-snaps, and then you can execute those sorts of plays, it's requiring so much more from Caleb from a bandwidth perspective than he's ever been used to. But the deep ball should, if he's able to pick up on that, that should be a part of it, because we know how explosive the Detroit offense was, and they get the ball to their playmakers in space, wherever it is, whether it's, at or near the line of scrimmage or downfield. They've got a lot of weapons on this offense, and they want to start utilizing them in that way.
Courtney Cronin, ESPN, ESPN.com. See her on TV, hear her on radio, and read her work at ESPN.com. That was a fantastic explanation, by the way. Now, DeAndre Swift, the running back, went for 3.8 yards per carry last season, a career low. But with Johnson in 2022, and I know you know all this, but we're sharing with the local audience, with Ben in 2022, DeAndre was 5.5 per carry, a career high. So how impactful do you expect him to be?
Well, what was the significance of that Detroit year? The offensive line. What was the significance of the career year he had in Philly when he was traded? The offensive line. The byproduct of DeAndre Swift's success is who's blocking for him. And, not every running back, the greatest running backs out there are the ones who can work around a shoddy offensive line and make magic happen. He's not somebody who can do that. He dances too much. His footwork can get a little clunky. And I think with his vision and not necessarily looking for the home run every single time, Ben has talked about this, he can be a much more efficient back in this offense, because the line has been upgraded, especially him running between the tackles. That's where it's all new personnel, kind of like in Minnesota. Like the two off seasons mirrored each other a little bit, and what the priorities were, especially with the offensive line. 2 new guards, a new center, that should benefit DeAndre Swift, and also being in an offense that's going to get him, it's going to put him in a position where he's doing more than he was doing last year with Shane Waldron. And what he was doing in Detroit like him and Jamal Williams, that they were catching a lot more passes. They were utilized in the screen game. They were utilized, sent out of the backfield on routes. They're doing that with DJ Moore right now, who's obviously a wide receiver, but Swift is going to be doing that too. And I think it's really important to know that he already knew this offense, or at least a version of it. So he had probably more institutional knowledge of what the run game was going to require from him than anybody else, and kind of gave him a leg up when they got together this spring.
All right, so let's land the plane on this, and that's all fascinating. But with Ben Johnson, the new coach, and the talent he has, so how does this system, not necessarily just Monday, but through the totality, with you speculating, how does this system mesh with the talent that he's going to be using?
He's got a lot of weapons. Like, he keeps talking about what keeps him up at night is trying to get the ball in everybody's hands, because you have 2 draft picks, the first time I think they've ever used in the common draft era, the first and second pick that they had on 2 pass catchers. So Colston Loveland, Luther Burden the third. You add that to a mix where you have DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Olamide Zaccheaus, who has been a pleasant surprise for this offense, and Cole Kmet. That's a lot of that in a lot of ways mirrors Detroit's offense from when Ben was most successful up there the last 2 years, when they went to the NFC Championship game and then lost in the divisional round. Like, you have really good playmakers that become a support system for your quarterback in addition to the offensive line. Like, I know he said he wasn't going to take Detroit's playbook and plop it down at players' lockers and be like, learn this. This is what we're running. But in a lot of ways, this is Detroit 2.0 for him, because the way that he constructed this team, and don't think for a second that he didn't have a lot of say on this. He's making $13 million a year. The Bears don't shell out money like that for head coaches normally. It signifies a culture shift and the impact that the head coach has to design the team the way he wants to. And I think that that's going to take time for, this is a confusing offense. I mean, what offense, honestly, in the NFL isn't? I think that's kind of hyperbolic when we say, oh, it's so hard. Like, yeah, it's NFL football. Like, it is hard. It's not a single read offense. This isn't like spread offenses in college, but it's going to require a lot of time for this to look good, to look proficient. Look at how long it took in Detroit in 2022. How many games did they go? They were 1-6 to start. Now, obviously, nobody down here wants to hear that, but I would imagine the first month of the season is going to look like a roller coaster as they're trying to figure it out, as they're trying to limit the pre-snap stuff that's been an issue throughout training camp. But if that works, then it's going to look more like Detroit than not, and less like the Bears teams of the past, where it was, a solid defense and a run game and quarterback play that was a liability.
All right, so Courtney, the last time we chatted, you speculated Rome Odunze could be sitting on a big season, given the way this offense will be run. Now, that was before training camp and joint practices and all that. Are you still feeling that way?
Yeah, he's the number 1 receiver in this offense. I would cash that bet 10 times out of 10 times. He is the number 1 receiver in this offense, and he should be. He's the contested catch guy, one of the best ones coming out of college the year that he did. The 50-50 balls that he and Caleb have become, Caleb's trusted him in those moments. And I think with the vertical routes, like what we were talking about a few minutes ago, them trying to get Caleb to be more comfortable going deep, most of Rome's routes run over the last 5 years of his career from Washington to the NFL were deep balls on vertical routes. So that all mirrors up to this is a prototypical X receiver in your offense, and he's going to be the guy that makes your quarterback comfortable. That's not to say it's not a knock on DJ Moore, I promise you, but calling somebody a number 1 means that is the key piece here to making it work. As DJ is going to be more of a gadget player, I think, in this offense. Again, not a slight saying that, but they're lining him up in the backfield. They're having him run routes out of the backfield. They're utilizing him in a much different way to where Rome has a more defined role in this offense, which honestly should have been his role last year. You draft the guy 9th overall. That should never have come in question, but they didn't know how to use him. Shane Waldron looked lost when he tried to figure out how to use this thoroughbred. And very clearly, like, it's something that I think Ben is licking his chops about, trying to get Rome in space and Rome outside of the numbers, outside of the hashes, to let him do his work.
Now, Green Bay is now favored to win the NFC North after that Parsons trade. Do you favor them, and who do you like to win the division and why?
I do. I had the Lions before, and I know that people are going to look at that and say, well, coaching matters. How could you possibly think that these people are going to win the division when all of their coaches, coordinators, position coaches, big part of it is turned over. And I still give Detroit a lot of credit for the roster, the talent. They're probably third, though, in my opinion. I think it's Green Bay winning the division. I think it's Minnesota second. Detroit, and probably in more of it, just like a natural fall off, I would call. I don't even know, regression, whatever the word you want to use. And then I put the Bears fourth. I still think that the Bears are a year away from being a 10-win team because, if you're going to make the playoffs in the NFC North, you have to be a double-digit win team. Now, that's not to say an 8-9 win season is not significant improvement. It wouldn't be good viewed as good thing down here. But I still think, given Minnesota and the bar that they set them for themselves last year at 14 wins, the bar can't be anything lower than what? 11
right.
For you guys up there? I don't think anybody signed up for 1 year of Sam Darnold and this blip, and to call it a blip on the radar, and to not expect that Kevin O'Connell can do this for a third time with a quarterback that he handpicked, that the team traded up for. But I've got, at the end of it, I've got Green Bay winning the division. I need to see it from Jordan Love this year. I need to see the MVP level season. And you don't go trade for Micah Parsons if you don't think you're a Micah Parsons away from winning the Super Bowl. Right.
Hey, what do you think it would be like covering the Dallas Cowboys?
A circus? I mean, you have to know what you're signing up for, though, that in the overall landscape of people that are important, they do things down there that's required from their job that's different. When we covered the Vikings, Mark Wilf would talk once, twice a year, maybe. Covering the Bears, George McCaskey will talk once, twice a year, maybe. Jerry Jones talks every single week. Jerry is as impactful of a presence down there as any player, any coach, probably more so than everybody else because he wants to be out in front of that. And that's his prerogative, I guess. I think it's, he's the one who cuts the checks and he can do whatever he wants. But it's exhausting. And even covering it and talking about it on a national perspective, like I have all off season, you're tired of it. He's not a good businessman. Can we stop trying to act like he's a great businessman and he cuts all these great deals? He's cost himself money every single time he's waited, whether it was Ezekiel Elliott and the insane deal that looked terrible 2 years in that he gave to him, to CeeDee Lamb, to Dak Prescott. Had you waited, had you not waited, you probably weren't paying him $60 million a year. He's not a savvy businessman. Just because he's a smooth talker to a degree, which even then, some of the things that come out of his mouth are offensive and stupid. I don't understand why we keep putting him on this pedestal. He's done such a great job. They won 3 Super Bowls 30 years ago, PA. It's not relevant to the current state of the NFL and the current state of their franchise. You're so right. I don't know if I could do it. I really don't.
Lastly, let's go to the other side of the gamut. Your dear friend Catherine Terrell, all right, covers the New Orleans Saints. What would it be like working that beat?
I mean, I've been in that spot before where you know that your team that you cover is set up for failure that year. That was the 3-14 Chicago Bears in 2022. So my advice to her would be start thinking about draft ideas and spinning it forward by week 9, because that is what it's going to look like with Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler as your quarterbacks.
You're playing so fast right now. It's almost like the game is tonight. Have a great weekend. Maybe see you Sunday, definitely Monday. And thanks for the time, CC.
Always. I'll see you Monday.
Yep. See you. That's Courtney Cronin, ESPN, ESPN.com. That girl came out firing bullets. It wasn't hyperbolic. It was smart. It was professional. It was accurate. But our beloved Courtney plays from the heart. That also was our marathon segment, courtesy of Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com. It's 11:25. You're listening to 9 to Noon. What's next? What do you have up your sleeve? This is a daily fantasy fodder, and the way you laid it out for me a couple of days ago, I thought it was pretty cool. How's it work?
Well, I just thought it would be a fun way to look. Like I represent Prize Picks, and so I live on that freaking app when I'm leading up to games, just kind of seeing where things are at. And I thought it would be an easy way to kind of transition from not just more or less and where stuff stands, but also we can talk about sweet football games because football season's back is what I've been hearing. So in tonight's game, we know that the Philly and Dallas are getting after it at Lincoln Financial, kick off the season, champs hosting the Cowboys. And 8.5-point favorites are the home squad, and we can run down that road if we want to. But Saquon Barkley. So Saquon, 2,000 yards, the do-everything guy for that team a year ago. And, just MVP class is what he put on the field. And he gets to hoist a trophy and gets a ring. But I'm just curious, when you run for 2,000 yards and you not just you set a bar at stratospheric in terms of his production a year ago, it was plug and play points from a fantasy perspective every single week. Like, how do you get better than that? So I immediately, not to be negative, and I love Saquon, I think about regression. Mm-hmm. But what is regression when you're on the freaking moon? You can still absolutely produce night in, night out.
Yep.
And so he sits here. I was looking this up on Prize Picks, more or less than 95.5 rushing yards. That's where, yes, 95.5. So a year ago, he ran it for 66 in the early one it was at Dallas. And then I think it was the second to last game of the season, he went off. I mean, it was just ridiculous. A fantasy feast. And Saquon, stud that he is, handled business.
Hey, so we don't forget this, I think it's the fourth game. But let's not forget that he went for like 210 and change against the Rams on average.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 games against the Rams, he was 2. Yeah, right. So, I mean, I see what you're saying.
So how stuck are the Cowboys defensively post Parsons? I think Kenny Clark can actually help their defensive interior. You hit on it immediately post-trade. I think the A topic was, hold on here. Even in Lieber, maybe the trade wasn't an awful idea. You get first-rounders, et cetera. You didn't get Edger and Cooper out of that deal. You didn't get, one of the younger high flyers. You did get, in some ways, probably what made the deal work financially. You had to take some money out of the pot to put some back in. One of the higher paid players with the pack happened to be Kenny Clark.
Yeah.
So, and then can you have success running at Parsons? And if only for a game, does your team potentially in this particular environment get better, at least against the run?
That's just rush that you mentioned. It's not scrimmage yards?
Just rush yards.
Okay.
95.5.
Yeah, I like the under a lot.
I kind of like the under for one game.
Yeah.
For one game.
Well, it's the right game. It's the first game.
It is.
So when you win the Super Bowl and now you know what it feels like and you know what it takes to get there, you look back and you're probably don't need to put 345 on Saquon again.
Right.
345 carries. Probably don't need to do this. I mean, he is a year older, so he's taken that minute. I mean, he's. Would we qualify him as the non-quarterback, the single most important player to a team in the NFL? I mean, think about it, because you can throw to him.
Yeah,
and he's good between the tackles. He's good on the edges. His pass protection's good.
How do you view Jamar Chase and what he does to Burrow?
Yeah. Well, what about TJ Watt? I mean, guys like that. It's
most important non-QB.
Well,
it's probably Saquon. It's probably the right answer because you saw it over the course of the year where, and this is what I was going to get to. I was actually going to mention Saquon's receptions, more or less than 2 tonight. And I have a lean on that. But you saw as the season continued on.
I
got leans. But and hopefully they pay off for everybody involved.
That's great.
But the lean with the Eagles last year.
I got Corbin Carroll from Arizona. Remember when I put you on that and he went 0 for 5?
Yeah, but you're so sneaky good at weird names and baseball bits and first fives and stuff like that. Like you've put me on several that paid off, just not Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, here's the deal. Sports betting in my life is eliminated. Okay, there's nowhere to do it.
Yeah.
We ain't driving south, ain't driving east, just stuff like that.
No offshore bank accounts.
But the Prize Picks bit, the underdog bit, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You're a lemming. Now, if you're good at it and you play, I don't know, say there's $7 a league and you play 100 of them.
Sure.
So you monopolize it that way. Well, that ain't me. And I don't have the time for it. And that's probably not you either.
No, it is not.
So if I'm doing one of those bits at $3, $5, or $7, I might get in maximum 7 to 10.
Yep.
Takes time.
It does.
Well, to go at NFL, then college football, then college basketball, then NBA, you're a lemming within a sea of sharks.
You are.
So, Major League Baseball, NHL. Hey!
Well, and that's why.
You know what I mean? Those are the ones. Those are the ones where you can get them under the cover of darkness.
That's why I like stuff like with Prize Picks, for instance. You can pick. You're not playing against anybody. I started to figure this out like kind of early days of FanDuel.
I agree.
Where I was never, I watched the game and I hit some leagues and stuff like that. Did okay, but I was never going to, because you know this in the gambling world. Mm-hmm. There's the 0.5% of all gamblers.
Yeah, win.
The human computers.
Yep.
And then the rest of us, we win some, we lose, we lose most, but we win just enough to stay in.
Yeah, well, because you have little kids.
Yeah.
Okay, I have, and it is true, little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems. But nevertheless, we have jobs.
Right.
If I'm telling you right now, man, I'm not going to make any, like grandiose, stupid, carnival barking grandstand chants. If it was just you and I,
okay,
and we were in a place where it was legal, and we had requisite funds behind us,
yes,
nothing but time, we wouldn't lose. No, we wouldn't lose. Okay, I'm telling you right now, we wouldn't lose.
You just described
because there would be 3 or 4 days. Now, okay, cool. So now all of a sudden the $3 plays are $3,000 plays. Because we've waited for it for a week. And then there may be one that's 15 grand. I mean, it's a living. It's a business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And you wait for it. You get it early in the week. Well, now we got to make sure we're minimal on the blackjack, minimal on the pie gal, minimal at the dice table.
That's correct, yes.
But you get to have fun, too. But let's just not buy in for 10 dimes and lose it all in 15 minutes.
Indeed.
So I know those percentages, but it's to each their own and how much time they put into it over a long course of time. It's like, all right, so say I'm playing blackjack with you and the dealer shows a 2 and you have a 12.
Yeah.
Okay. So you may hit the 12.
I hit it every time.
I may not, because I look at it like this. I want you to take cards. I don't want to take cards.
I get that.
I want the dealer to. You try.
100%.
I've just tried 5 in a row and I lost every one. So, but here's the deal. That's cool. I mean, if you do it your way, I do it my way, great. But, and you've said this before, and it's true. Just if you're playing with somebody and betting more than $1 or $5 a hand, just hopefully those people are consistent.
Consistency is the game. Yeah.
Thank you. However, when people hit me with, well, the book says,
right.
Okay, well, the book is predicated, the Blackjack Bible is what they call it. It's predicated on 10,000 consecutive hands being played.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody playing 10,000 consecutive hands.
Right.
So, yeah, the probability or percentages over 10,000 consecutive examples is that hitting a 12 against the dealer's 2 is the right thing to do. But we're not in that situation.
Correct.
So, therefore, when people are like 0.5, 0.8% out of 100 win at sports gambling, okay, well, what percentage of that 99.2 focuses solely on that with requisite funds behind them, backers, and things like that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. No,
so
I totally
I'm telling you right now, you and I ain't saying we would shut them down, but they'd pay.
They would pay. I agree with you, and I think we're going to get paid on the under 95.
But the Prize Picks bit's the bomb.
It is, because I don't want to compete against the guy that spent 7 hours trying to find the obscure tight end.
Like with Prize Picks and or underdog, but Prize Picks, with the goblins and everything. I don't mind the goblins. I'm never playing the red goblin, or excuse me, the green one. Don't ever play the safe goblin.
Right.
Okay, because the odds, like if they're supposed to take away, the companies, if they're supposed to take away X amount, it's generally just a little more.
Yeah.
Where they're giving you a better, you look at it like, are you kidding me? Anthony Edwards over 9 points? Wow. But see, like with the individual bits against, I mean, you're right, man. In the long haul, you're completely right.
Yeah.
You're going against 4,000 people. And how many of those are bots? How many of those entries are just computer bits?
I'm convinced many of them are.
Where it's $7 a team. So we got 20 here monopolizing Yankee combinations, 20 here monopolizing White Sox combinations, 15 here monopolizing Athletics.
Yeah.
So they don't go for the low hangers. So, and that's how people like that win these big tournaments where it looks like you're putting up $7, you're winning $4,000. Because Rubes are going to see, hey, there's a game of course. All right, let me go check out Jung-Hoo Lee or Jung Lee, whatever my man's name is. Mike Yastrzemski is now with Kansas City. Who knew? Elliot Ramos. Let's see what he's doing these days. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Game at course, over under 11.5. This is good enough to eat. Nah, the pros are maximizing Athletics. White Sox, Taj Bradley. This team doesn't score. Bradley, whatever, near the end of the season. Yeah, I'll take Montgomery. I'll take Robert. I'll take Benintendi or whatever his name is.
Yep.
I'll take all of them. 15 times.
And they crush.
Different combinations. So that discourages me on that. But like what you're saying with Prize Picks is the bomb.
Because you're just trying to decide what's going to happen with a specific player. You're not up against the box or anybody else.
But keep this in mind, and you're good at this, man. So I'm not sitting here like wagging my finger or preaching to you because you've done quite well with this. The majority of people, when they speculate, they look at two things. On average, the dominant plays are favorites.
Yep.
And overs. Okay?
That's correct.
So you're going to see, Jalen Hurts, whatever rushing yards.
Yep.
Well, it's going to be skewed probably 0.5 to 1.5 yards higher than it should be to make you bet the under.
Yep.
Make you hit that under. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So once you can figure that stuff out, man, and you got some ammo behind you? Hey,
let's go.
That sounded fun.
It's funny because I wanted to start with the specific yards because that is the regression. What does Saquon version 2 or the 2025 edition look like? But I always look at one thing that I've done really well with on Prize Picks is targets. Yeah. And so, it's like T.J. Hawkinson.
They have targets?
Yeah, you can get targets on there.
Jeez, that's nice.
T.J. Hawkinson on a Monday night at Soldier Field, 6.5 targets. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a terrific number. Aaron Jones, 2.5.
What if KO jumps up 10, and now in it's early third quarter, and it's run. Because he doesn't want to put McCarthy in peril because he's new.
Well,
those are the fascinating handicapping angles you have to consider.
Like J.J. McCarthy, more or less than 31.5 attempts.
Oh, I'm under on that.
I'm under all day at that particular moment.
Yeah, the over on that should be minus, or the under on that should be minus 180.
Like I think there's. I don't want to say there's
31.5.
I don't want to say there's no doubt. I kind of feel like we could have more rushing attempts on Monday night potentially
than the Bears,
than passing attempts. The combination of Jones and Mason.
Wow,
more rushing attempts than passing attempts.
Has that happened in the O'Connell regime?
I would.
That doesn't happen in anybody's regime except John Harbaugh.
Yeah. Harbaugh yawns at this concept. Yeah. He's like, no, that's every week. Actually.
Justice Hill has 30 runs. Lamar's thrown it 4 times, and they're winning by 16.
Yeah, if Lamar throws it 35 times, we're chasing and we're in trouble.
Let's pause and continue this.
Yeah,
okay?
Sure.
Yeah, this bit's the bomb. Be right back.
I can't wait until tomorrow.
Hardcore CC.
How about Courtney Cronin today?
Ooh, bringing the heat, huh?
Yeah, we get that girl's A game every single time she joins 9 to noon. We got the A+++ game today, especially with her commentary on the Dallas Cowboys and the way she laid out how Ben Johnson, coach of the Bears, can mesh what he wants done with the talent they have. And then the way she explained the talent they have, including second-year wide receiver Rome Odunze. I mean, she's all over Odunze. Yeah. It was into training camp or maybe around mini camp we had her on before she took a break for like a month or 5 weeks. And she was on Odunze then. And it hasn't stopped. I didn't even get a chance to ask her about the tight end Colston Loveland. Kind of excited to see him. You watch some of his work at Michigan, and it's not like what's the Penn State cat's first name? Warren Ty?
Oh, Tyler Warren.
Tyler, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, Warren is faster and twitchier, and just on these angle routes and everything. The way he shakes his shoulders. But this Loveland's a handful, man.
Well, it's interesting too, and I know we're up against it, but the way that Ben Johnson found a rookie in Sam Laporta and used him, because typically these tight ends don't just pop up in their 1,000-yard, 10 TD guys. Yeah. Ben Johnson figured out how to win with Laporta right away. What if he figures out how to win with Loveland right away too? So something that matters on a Monday night.
And chatting with some people with at before or after Vikings practice yesterday. This Olamide, it's Olamide
Zaccheaus.
Olamide Zaccheaus. Yeah, he's on the radar. And I don't know what he did. Why is he on everybody's radar? Prize Picks. Think about it. Think about it. It's Olamide, or Olamide. That's what it is.
Okay.
Olamide. But I'm just starting to hear a lot of but Ben. They don't say it that way, but Ben. DeAndre, but Ben. Zaccheaus, but Ben. Burden, the third, or junior, whatever, but Ben. DJ Moore, you don't hear but Ben. Rome Odunze, but Ben. So he's just, this thing Monday night, man, it is so fascinating. And we've talked about it all off season, but the closer we get to it, the more we learn about these players. The intrigue, 9 to noon, is about an 8.5 out of 10.
How pumped are you for the feast tomorrow in Oakdale?
Friday football feast, Paul Charchian's swan song. He wants to hand the verbal baton to Alec Lewis.
You think he brought a prop?
I think he brought a baton, and it's in his hotel room in Roseville.
How'd he get that through TSA?
Hopefully it's not soiled when we see him tomorrow. Buffalo Wild Wings Oakdale for the Friday football feast tomorrow. Buffalo Wild Wings Oakdale, yours truly, Alec Lewis and Charge. Talk to them. Bye.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.